Hey, Void. Back to the backlog. How have I not reviewed this one by now? I don't know. So, The Exorcist. I'll just say it. Now I know a new Exorcist film just came out, but I actually watched this one like several months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, so yeah, that's nowhere really tied in with my watching of it. I don't think I even knew about that when I gave a rewatch to The Exorcist. Now, first off, I love The Exorcist. I do love this movie. Is it the scariest movie of all time, like everything ever says? No, definitely not. This movie, for me, is not even scary. I don't find it frightening at all. But it is very well acted. It is a beautifully shot movie. The soundtrack is phenomenal. It is a very good movie. I just personally don't find it scary. But I can see why, if you're of a religious bent, back when this one came out, why it would impact people the way it did. Particularly if you're a parent. This movie I can see why it would affect you. It affected a lot of people, so yeah. And in fact, recently, I was read just before I watched this, read the book. I finally got around to reading William Peter Blatty's novel, and I will say, they're very actually close. A lot of things are. I will say the movie does a better job than with the mother character. She seemed her line delivery seemed a little strange in the book, like she seemed very naive. But in the book does a lot more job of the book does a lot more with trying to figure out what's real evidence of the possession, because the church seems to recognize psychic phenomena, but not necessarily it being necessarily from the devil. So if you know something and the possessed person could be reading your mind, not evidence of the devil, just of psychic ability. So there's some oddities there. Now, the version I'm here is the quote-unquote version you've never seen, which is the extended director cut version, which I actually prefer. They do add a lot to this one that seems to add all something, including the infamous spider walk, which does take place in the book, but in slightly different context. Okay, so, plot, as if you don't know. Linda Blair got the devil in her. Oh, I will say the book also does a better job in implying that the devil came through the Ouija board, which is shown here. They seem to imply that a lot more was tied in with her father being absent, which this is vaguely hints at, but you have to be really paying attention for it. Anyway, so where to start? So we got the mother is an actress who's often away from and she's kind of torn between spending time with her daughter and her career. Also, the book does a little bit more on that also, but I digress. This is about the movie, not the book. I just want to pull up the name so I can stop just saying the mother. Except for my phone is messing up. There we are. Okay. So Chris McNeil is an actress whose daughter Reagan is now, seeming to be acting increasingly strange, and none of the psychiatrists could figure it out, none of the doctors could figure it out, and finally they decide to call it a priest. Particularly they get to young Father Karras, who's a priest that's struggling with his own faith. Once he starts seeing some of the strange things, he's not sure whether or not it actually is the devil, but he does see enough that he does want to help the family, so regardless, he wants to help. As things get increasingly worse at the household, you've seen all the infamous things: the head spinning, the soup spitting, and there's some very vulgar things that happen that I'm not going to repeat on YouTube. But the book, in fact, gets more graphic. So, The Exorcist. It's iconic. It is. And it does deserve to be. I personally don't view it as a frightening movie, but it is very well acted, very well put together, and for me, it does deserve a lot of the accolades it has gotten. It's a good story, and it's a very well put together film. So, for me, I don't often give out 10s, but I think I have to give it to The Exorcist. I mean, the first time I saw it, I admit I was almost kind of disappointed because it had been so overhyped. It's so scary. It's the scariest movie ever, and it didn't really get to me. So at first, I was kind of disappointed by it. But after I went back a few years later and just watched it without all those expectations, it resonated more and more with me. The situation, the horror of the situation is definitely there. If it isn't outright scary, some of the events are horrifying. And the performances really sell it across, between how Reagan going back and forth between how terrified she is and then how sinister she has to act, even if someone else is voicing over her. But the priests also really do a good job here. So, Exorcist, gotta give it a 10. It's a classic for a reason, and for me, I really enjoy it. Now, there's a small contingency that seem to view it as a comedy. I don't get that. I don't really see why people would think it's funny. It doesn't strike me as that dated, so I don't see why people would. I mean, I guess Reagan acts a little weirdly childish at the beginning, but otherwise, I don't really see why people would view it as funny. Just me. But I do recommend it. Alright, boy. Get you later.